right. Thank you so much for tuning into another week of the Six-Figure Roadmap. I am here with Mark Thompson, CEO and founder of Pay Kickstart. I'm excited to have you on here today, man. I know that you're going to provide a lot of value and insight to our listeners. Welcome.
Thanks, Kevin, for having me. Let's get started.
Cool. So the thing I'm curious about, I was actually talking to my partner and the CEO of our company about you, and we were both super curious because you came from the internet marketing world. You started many years ago. You were kind of one of the pioneers in that. And then you switched to SaaS, right? Now you are creating Pay Kickstart. You're always enhancing it.
Yep.
I'm curious, like, why you made that transition, how you got started, and how that came to be.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a loaded question. So, for a number of years, I worked in the agency world. I managed a whole bunch of different local business marketing campaigns, and I realized I didn't want to trade time for money. So I learned about this whole other world of creating products and selling them online 24/7. And I loved the idea of creating a product once, and being able to sell it as many times as I want. It was just so much more scalable. And so I was just really reverse engineering what other people were doing and just seeing, creating a course or creating a training program is really not that hard. And especially in today's marketplace with a good USB microphone and a camera, you can, and screencast software, you can create a training program relatively easily. And so I learned that early on. And so I just kind of got my feet wet and I started to create information programs. But one thing I realized that I was missing was I didn't have a traffic source. I didn't have a way to drive relevant buyers to my offers. And so one thing that I did do, which I think is really important for anyone that's just getting started, is to try to find a mentor or someone that you could partner with that can really show you the ropes. So I hired a mentor and I was like, hey, I have this product, but I'm just not doing a good job of selling it. I need people to promote it and drive traffic. And he's like, I got you. So we went and we redid the sales page with one of his copywriters, and we built out a sales funnel. And then he got all of these affiliate partners that he's built these relationships with who have these massive email lists. And he's like, all right, we're going to do this product launch. It's going to last for 1 week. And we're going to bring on all these affiliates and they're going to promote it for a week. And let's see what happens. And I really didn't have many expectations, but I had seen some of the stuff that he has done in the past. And I was like, okay, so I got excited about it. And before I knew it, we had generated 6 figures in a week in revenue. And I mean, for me, that was one of my aha moments, just seeing like, oh my God, like here's what is possible. And we had generated more revenue than I had made from my marketing clients from like the past 2 or 3 years. So this was like groundbreaking stuff for me. And the rest is history. I mean, I took that product launch formula and I really scaled it out, unlike anyone else that I really know. I mean, I created so many different products and programs over the years. But to answer your question about like what made me transition from creating lots of programs into focusing on just one SaaS application. And I think the thing was, it's hard to really scale and create lots of products and be able to support them and grow them long-term. And so I think that was something that I realized, in the beginning, I was just trying to get my feet wet and try to generate revenue. And I found my passion being in software. I'm not a developer. I'm not a coder. I just learned how to manage developers and designers and support staff. And over the years, I tried lots of different shopping carts and affiliate management solutions. And we found that there was just so much lost revenue and so many headaches when it comes to releasing a product and selling it online. And so we actually created our own shopping cart just to use internally, just to sell our own products. And we quickly realized that other vendors were having the same problems and challenges that we were having. And so that's why we created Pay Kickstart in the first place. And really it was just for internal use. And then we realized that other vendors could really benefit from this. And so that's what made me really focus on Pay Kickstart as my long-term project. It's really my passion project. It's what I've grown to love. And I love helping other vendors just sell more easily and sell more of what they have to offer.
I love that. So you said multiple times you kind of shifted from creating products to getting into SaaS and doing a bunch of different things. How did you decide when it was appropriate to pivot, and then which direction was going to be the best way to pivot?
Well, yeah, so it's a good question. So one of the things I tried to do early on was mitigate risk as best you can. I think for any aspiring entrepreneur, you always want to mitigate risk. You don't want to put yourself in a bad situation. And so from the time I, went off on my own and started managing client work to where I am today, I've always tried to mitigate that risk and make sure that I have predictable income in my business. And so when I was creating products and I really didn't know what I was doing, I still was managing marketing clients, and I always had that predictable revenue stream coming in. And so when I decided to shift towards SaaS and really pick Kickstart as my long-term business that I wanted to focus on and scale, I knew that I had the other products kind of under my belt or in my portfolio of different revenue streams that were generating revenue. And even though we weren't adding new features and I mean, we were continuing to support them, but we redirected a lot of the revenue that was generated from that business and we reinvested it into Pay Kickstart. And once we got Pay Kickstart to a place where it started to generate a good amount of predictable recurring revenue on its own, that's really when we kind of went all in and started to scale it up.
I love it. And you said when you made that transition, you created a lot of relationships with affiliate partners, and then you had a successful launch. What are the bits and pieces that make for a successful launch when transitioning that way?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different parts, and I think it doesn't happen overnight. I spent a lot of time over 5 or 6 years developing relationships with affiliate partners, and not only affiliate partners, but just other people in the space. People that I've just said, hey, this is who I am. I just wanted to say I love what you're doing. And who knows where the relationship goes down the road. There could be an opportunity. And that always seemed to happen, right? I used to always start running into the same people and be like, oh yeah, remember we had that kind of conversation a couple of years ago. It's funny that everything came full circle and we're doing this project together or a joint venture or, I heard you have a designer or a developer that's looking for a full-time gig. I have something for them. So all of these things come full circle, and it's always good to build that network of and have all those relationships. And so it didn't happen overnight, but in terms of what's in the DNA of a successful product launch, I would have to say having those relationships is a big part of it, or just having some sort of a traffic mechanism. So maybe you're good at paid advertising, or you have your own in-house email list. SEO really doesn't apply for product launches, but having the traffic generation strategy, also just having your finger on the pulse of your industry. What are the challenges that people are having? And so whenever we create a new product, we always say, well, what's the one challenge that we're going to fix, and what's our competitive advantage? And so I always say, don't reinvent the wheel, make a better wheel. And I think that's super important to realize, is that you don't want to create a product that no one's ever created before, because again, that goes back to a lot of risk, right? I mean, it's hard to create something completely new in a space and expect it to be successful. And so what I always try to do is find products or a group of products that have done well in a certain marketplace, but just put my own spin on it, make it better in some way and have that competitive advantage. And that's what I always have felt to be what has made a successful product launch, is having that pain or challenge being solved by your product, and then having that competitive advantage, and then also having the traffic sources or the affiliate partners to help promote it and get the word out.
I love that. I love that. What do you see being the most effective business growth strategy in the next 2 years?
Oh boy. I think it depends. It depends on what type of product you have. So, with Pay Kickstart and our SaaS company, a lot of it has been either word of mouth or through our SEO strategy. So we've done a lot with content, just kind of going back to the old school SEO days. And so content and just kind of providing value has really turned into one of our longer term growth strategies. It's not something short term. So it depends on what you're trying to do. For short term growth and short term exposure, I would highly recommend email marketing, affiliate marketing, paid advertising. But if you're looking for a more longer term approach, SEO, things like Quora contributions, that type of stuff has really been helpful, but it's more of a long-term approach, and you can't be just doing it for a week and then turn it off. It has to be something that you continuously do and continuously invest in.
So it sounds to me like obviously content, but educational content, providing value to the people that you're trying to attract into your business, is still going to be very important in the following years. How have you utilized education in front of your core offer, which is the software, to attract the right people into your business?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of webinars, a lot of video training. So we've done a lot of affiliate promotions with other affiliates, and we'll do webinars and we'll offer them some sort of a deal on the webinar. So that's been really important. We've actually just recently started to do more of like a kind of a PR strategy, or an outreach strategy with other like-minded blogs and podcasts like this one, to just kind of spread the word, because we feel our product is about 3 to 3.5 years old, so it's starting to really mature, and it's starting to become kind of mainstream. And so one of our strategies now is to really kind of get out there and just put our message out there, and because a lot of people haven't heard of our solution before. And so our strategy was a lot different when we first started, because when we were first starting, it was more of like, let's get some early adopters. Let's make sure that we have that minimum viable product that people are going to want, and there's a need in the marketplace that we know that they want. And then from there, once we have our first 10 or 20 or 50 vendors using the platform, we'll kind of let them dictate where the evolution of the product. And so our marketing strategy has really shifted from kind of that short-term mindset to more of that long-term approach. But to answer your question, we've done a lot with kind of educational webinars and lead magnets and white papers. Those are the types of things, just to educate them on where there's opportunity within your shopping cart and your affiliate management program to generate more revenue, more customers.
I love what you said about letting your vendors and affiliates kind of dictate where your business goes. What information are you collecting from your affiliates and your customers that provide that information for where you should be going in your company?
Yeah, so a couple things. So the first thing is we do have a product feature roadmap. So we get every day people asking us, hey, it'd be really cool if it did this. It'd be really cool if it did that. And one thing I learned, especially with software, is you don't want to get too feature happy, because before you know it, you're creating all sorts of features and you're trying to make everybody happy, and you kind of lose focus for what the core direction of the product is meant to do. And so one thing that we did, we created this roadmap. We're like, hey, here's what we're working on. You can add as many feature requests as you want to. We'd love for you guys to vote on them and really give us your feedback and insights as to where you want the platform to go. So that's one area that we have. And so whenever people say, I have this feature request, we always document it in our feature request area so that we don't lose it. And then we allow everybody to have a voice and to let us know what they like, what they don't like. We also, we have our support staff really listen to what our customers are saying in our help desk and in live chat. And so even if it's something very small, we train our customer success team to say, hey, just create a ticket, add it somewhere, so that we, like the executives or people who are kind of worried about business development and product, can just review it and say, oh my God, this is something that we completely overlooked. We need to add this. And so it's all about, prioritization and really trying to figure out what's going to have the biggest impact for your overall target audience. And I think that's what it comes down to, is really understanding, who is this product for? And then the features will obviously kind of be tailored towards that market segment.
I love it. So for most of the people who are listening to this, they may be en route to pivoting to a different direction in what they want to be doing. Mm-hmm. What is one thing that they should be focusing on after they hear the information that you're giving them to reach the place where they can start implementing a marketing strategy, listening to their customers, building a team? What would you recommend for them to get there?
The main thing is focus, because so many people get pulled in 1,000 different directions. I know I did, and I'm sure you can attest to that as well. There's so much information out there. There's so many coaches, there's so many trainers, there's so many tools and plugins and software that you kind of lose focus of what you're trying to do. And so the first thing I think is, do what you're passionate about. And that's one of the hardest things I think to do, is to find what you're passionate about. I think lucky early on to find my passion, which was running a software company. But when I was in college, I went to school for business and marketing, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I kind of just stumbled into it. And then I finally realized I love to create software and tools and technology to help entrepreneurs and marketers. And so I think the first thing is find your passion. And hopefully everyone is lucky enough to find what they want. And if you don't, keep searching, right? I mean, keep trying to figure out what makes you want to, jump out of bed in the morning and get to work. And I don't really even consider what I do work. It's just like playing on the internet. I have fun doing what I do every day. So it's fun to me, and that'll help avoid burnout. And so I think as long as you kind of know what you're looking to do, who you want to serve, just having that focus. And, I think it's important. You obviously need to have a way to monetize your expertise. And so, figure out what that one product is, what that flagship product is. Do you like to teach other people? Would you rather be a coach? Would you rather do software? Would you rather create an information product? There's lots of different ways that you can leverage your expertise and your knowledge and wisdom into making money off of it. And so I think there's a lot of different directions you could go, but find out what makes you happy and what you're passionate about.
Beautiful, beautiful. I want to ask you a series of questions just to get to know you a little bit better. Allow our listeners to get to know you a little bit better. The first one is, what is one non-negotiable habit you implement every day?
Non-negotiable habit. Man, that's a good one. I mean, I'm very anal when it comes to efficiency. So I want everybody to have their ducks in a row and know exactly what you're going to be doing that day. So I don't want, like, for anyone that works for us, like, exactly what you're doing when you come in, and you have these specific goals in mind. And so, like, I have my little notebook right here, and like, these are the things that I need to do today. And if I don't, it might take me a couple hours, it may take me 12 hours, but I'm not going to finish working until I finish these things. So I know exactly what I need to do. So I'm kind of a stickler about stuff like that.
What is one book you wish everyone in the world would read?
Actually, this book right here, 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. It's a great one. It's all about startups, building for the future. Anyone who's an aspiring entrepreneur, I actually just reread this because I love that book so much. So 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. You can get it on Amazon for probably a couple bucks now. It's a good one. On
what do you like to spend your time and money outside of business?
Well, I have a wife and a 7-year-old daughter, so I love to travel. I don't get to travel as much as I used to, but honestly, it's kind of boring, but I love just hanging out with family and friends. We have a bunch of great neighbors. We all just kind of get together and relax and hang by the pool and do all that kind of fun stuff. So, I do love to travel. I love to go to new places that I've never been. I love to meet new people. So when I get to travel, I love doing that. I love sports. I was mentioning to you before, I'm from Buffalo, New York. So anyone from Western New York is obviously a Buffalo Bills fan. So I love football. The football season's right around the corner. So I'm excited for that.
Love it. What has been the most actionable or insightful course or paid training you've ever taken?
Oh boy. Well, I would have to say, at least right now, so I'm in a private mastermind group. It's called SaaS Academy with Dan Martell is the coach. And Dan has built many SaaS companies, successful SaaS companies. And he's really helped us get to where we wanted to be. We were kind of stuck in a rut for a while. Like, we had kind of built the products, but we were trying to figure out, like, how do we break in through mainstream? And he has been awesome. So we went to one of his live events a couple of months ago, and he also has office hours and webinars. And so it's not cheap, but at least depending on where you're at, right? I mean, for the programs that I took 10 years ago when I was first starting out, and the coaching and mentorship that I get now is completely different. It's obviously a little bit more advanced. So it all depends on where you're at in your journey. So I think that's important, that you don't want to necessarily start trying to, invest $5,000 into someone who's really going to take you to, from a, 10, you're making 10 grand a month to 8 figures. It's hard to make that stepping stone or that leap. So, just start with some free courses, and then you can work your way to some of the more advanced stuff.
What are 3 pieces of software tools that you and your company cannot live without?
We use Slack. So we used to use Skype, and now we feel that Slack is just a better communication channel. So we have a virtual team. So we're spread out all over the world, which is something I love. It's something that we've been doing for years. And so we use Slack for communication. We also use Jira for handling just our project management. So just creating tasks, and if there's bugs, fixes, and all that kind of fun stuff. And then, I mean, we use Pay Kickstart for obviously everything in terms of selling our products, for checkout, for affiliate management. So, I mean, between those three tools, that's really what we use to run our business.
Awesome. Are there any last words of advice you would like to give the people listening today?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, especially if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, is you need to, learn how to adapt and learn how to overcome challenges. I mean, every day you're going to be thrown new problems, new challenges that you need to overcome. And a lot of people get flustered. And I was like this when I first started out. I'd be like, there'd be some issue that I needed to fix. And I always had a negative look on it. Like, instead of looking at it like, hey, I'm going to figure out a solution to this, it was just like, I'd get all worked up and flustered, and it would actually kind of like ruin me for the day or for the week, depending on how big the issue was. And so just realize that challenges are going to arise every single day in your journey as an entrepreneur. And it's the ones that learn how to deal with them and create solutions and overcome those challenges and adapt to certain situations. Those are the ones that are going to rise to the top. And so take everything with a grain of salt. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Try to leverage other smart, like-minded people in your business and try to build something great that you can love and do long-term.
Beautiful. Thank you for the words of wisdom.
Absolutely.
Obviously, people know Pay Kickstart. Is there any other way that they can get in contact with you or the company, or learn more about Pay Kickstart and how to utilize that for their company?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way to get a hold of me, or really anybody on our team, is through our Facebook group. So we have a private group. Just go type in Pay Kickstart into Facebook and you'll find our group. We'll just join the group. We'll add you. And really, I mean, anything, we just love talking about everything related to what we do. So anything related to how you sell products, how handling checkout processes, conversion strategies, how to minimize churn, how to maximize recurring revenue, all these kind of fun stuff that we do day in and day out. Feel free to come in and ask a question and just kind of meet myself and my business partner, and we have all of our customer success team right in that group. So that's a great place to kind of collaborate and meet up.
Awesome, guys. I'm going to put all that stuff in the show notes. So you'll be able to connect with Mark and his team on Facebook inside of their group. I will link Pay Kickstart. It's awesome software. I really appreciate you being on here, Mark, giving us your time, sharing your words of wisdom. You have a long list of things to do on that list. So I appreciate the time you've given us today.
Well, thanks for having me, Cameron. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in to another week of the 6-Figure Roadmap. Cheers, everyone.